Hi, I'm Sherrill, and today I'm going to be reviewing Deadpool! At last! I've been waiting since I saw the trailer at Infinity Wars for Deadpool. Well, I've been waiting longer than that. Ever since they released the first one, Deadpool 2. Is it as good as the first one? Yes. Did I love it? Yes. I don't have a lot of negative critiques for this movie because it makes fun of itself. Anytime there's a plot hole, Deadpool looks at the screen, he looks at you, and he says, "That's just lazy writing." And I'm like, it was. I was gonna mark it, but you said it anyway. So, I mean, you can't really be mad at a film that is like, yeah, we know this part, you're gonna give it to us. It starts off with an action sequence, and Deadpool is like, "Let's kick it off, Dolly." And you're like, "Dolly?" And then Dolly Parton starts singing. The music selection in this film is just hilarious. It's just perfectly timed each time, right down to Enya. They did a great job. Plot-wise, they set up the theme right at the beginning of the movie. They're like, this is a family film. And like every good family film, it starts off with murder. You know, like The Lion King and Bambi. And I'm like, he's not wrong. And as far as scripts go, you want to have a theme that's consistent through your whole film. The theme of family actually is. It's consistent through the whole film. When him and his woman want to actually have a child, right down to when he's saving this young boy to help propel him on a greater path, down to the end where he's walking with all of them and he's like, "See, I told you this was a family film. Like, we made our own family." And it's nice. I mean, they don't go particularly deep into what it really means to be family and what is family and the fact that Wade didn't have a father. They touch on things lightly. It's really not Deadpool's style to go too deep. If they added that depth, they could have had more of an emotional turnaround. But if you're wanting to see emotional turnaround films, like, how do I say it? Gently. Deadpool's, he's not your guy, you know? But what Deadpool does so well, which he always does, is he brings the comedic relief, right? So the whole film is just one crack comedy joke off of another. If you've ever taken a comedy class, they have this thing called yes-anding, where someone says something funny and then you're like, "Yes, and then you add to the funny, and then you add, so that it gets this sort of big payoff jokes. And so the whole film is like a yes and. So when Deadpool's main love interest dies, I was thinking, kind of like with Ragnarok and Infinity War, I was like, am I not going to be able to watch the first Deadpool now, because that whole film was cyclical around their love story, right? And the struggle to actually be with her now that he had changed and all of that. But then at the end, this whole review is spoilers, so spoilers. But then at the end, he takes that time machine device and he just fixes it. He just throws the cream cheese spreader, kills the guy, saves this woman. So all that drama about her being in heaven and him not to be able to be there yet, he just fixes it, which was great. So I'm like, oh good, I can still watch the first film, no problem. They're not gonna leave any laughs behind. I do like that line when he's mourning her loss though, when he says, "I loved her like the ocean loves water." And his friend is like, "The ocean is water." Exactly. They actually had a lot of decent lines in this film that weren't comedic. Like when he's talking to Blind Al about loss, and she says that pain is both a history teacher and a fortune teller. I thought that was an interesting philosophical statement, that pain is definitely something that you pull from your history, like you can learn from it and grow, but it's also a fortune teller because it's going to affect every move you make after that event. You know, when things change you, they change you. And so I thought that that was nice that they slipped in a little bit of philosophy in a overall comedic movie. It was great that they brought in Juggernaut and then had Deadpool fanboy over him. And then after he gets ripped in half, he's like, kids, don't meet your heroes in person. He also tries calming him later in the film by being like, hey big guy, the sun's getting really low. He's not the Hulk, but that was great. And all the references in here where he's pulling from Avengers and X-Men and 80s and just everything. It was just, if you love pop culture and nerd culture, period, this was just like an orgasm of it all over the place. I mean, every other line was just some kind of reference. Deadpool's nicknames for people are always great. I feel like I do that with people and they definitely don't appreciate it, like the characters didn't in this film. Like when he calls Colossus Shiny Jesus, and when he calls Negasonic's girlfriend Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony. It's like, that's pretty great. It was shocking and gratifying when Deadpool shoots those creepy orphanage guys in the face. Because he's just talking to the kid, did they hurt you? And then boom, like half of his brain, and you're like, oh right, it's Deadpool, of course he's gonna do that. But then he lets himself get captured really easily. And then he's like, oh, what are these collars? Oh, now my powers are suppressed. I was just like, I mean, I get that he's depressed. Maybe that was the reason. Also, he blows himself up into tiny pieces because he wants to die so he can be with his girlfriend. But then when he gets the collar on and it's slowly killing him because basically his mutant powers like cancer when it's not activated, why the slow death? You think he'd be like, oh, this will kill me. I just tried to kill myself and couldn't. That was my whole misery. Now I can kill myself now that I'm wearing this collar. Stab, stab, stab. I'm dead. But he doesn't do that. He kind of gets emo and it's like not protecting the kid. Maybe I should protect the kid in the prison. And then once he gets the collar off, he's like, I'm totally protecting the kid. So it's kind of interesting there. I mean, I think that's a little muddled because you have the theme of without her I want to die, but then he gets the opportunity and then he kind of wavers on it. So they just needed a more solid plateau for that part. Although I did like in prison that he says like, if you give me a bow and arrow, I'm basically Hawkeye, because he feels so useless. And I'm like, Hawkeye? Poor Hawkeye. He wasn't even in Infinity Wars. Anyway, that's another review. I love when he's fighting Cable and he's like, are you sure you're not DC? You're so dark. It's like, oh. He gets another stab at DC when he comes home and he tries to explain that he's late because he was fighting with this other guy, and then we both found out that our mom's name was Martha. Like Superman and Batman. And I was just like, oh man, getting DC things in there. Along with everything else. Nothing is safe in the Deadpool universe. And then he forms the X-Force because X-Men is sexist. I was kind of like, nice. Then he yells at Peter, who's part of his newly formed X-Force, but then just tells him, I'm just yelling in front of the guys to make myself look impressive. I'd never let anything happen to you, Sugar Bear. I was like, why is this creepy and cute at the same time? And he like wipes the cream from his face and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But then he keeps that promise at the end and actually, when he turns back time, doesn't save the rest of them, but he saves Peter. It's like, huh, I wonder, is that a future plant? Probably not. To Deadpool and Spidey, which is a boat I ship. Deadpool, throughout this whole thing, let's be honest, is just so overwhelmingly comfortable with his sexuality with men and women when he's like groping Colossus's ass for like a minute in the film, as well as hugging Cable a little too tightly and then awkwardly saying that he was sorry when Cable like made direct eye contact and slowly put on his lip balm in his fanny pack. Let's all admit that was a fanny pack. It's just nice because so many of the superheroes are so aggro or dominant, and then to have Deadpool who's like, I could go either way. As far as him and Spidey, at least what I've read, they have like one of the longest Marvel friendships, and so I can't wait to actually see them together at some point once Peter is not disappeared. Fix that timeline too, Deadpool. Yeah, can't he do that? He did make a Thanos reference in this film. Like, go them with Thanos. I did want to see the X-Force fight at least in one battle before they all died, but at least we got Domino out of it, and her powers were really fun, having lucky powers. It was fun because Deadpool made fun of them throughout the whole film, like, oh, just good luck with your imaginary powers, yeah, I know you can do it. But then we, of course, get to see those powers pay off, and he even voiceovers like, it's almost like if you're seeing it and I'm not, or something like that. That was really fun. And she was a cool character. I mean, she had skills. She was at least female. More female protagonists, please, in every movie. And at one point he calls Cable John Connor, right? From Terminator? And then I think at another point, One-Eyed Willy from The Goonies. And then he says something about sweeping the leg from Karate Kid. It's just the 80s pop culture references. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Throughout the whole film, it's really delightful if you know all those films and you just get to see him throw it at you in little spikes throughout the whole movie. Now there isn't anything at the end credits, which I was sad because last time they had that Ferris Bueller's Day Off thing, right? Where he's like, go home in his robe. So I was waiting. I was like, talk to me. But they didn't. That was kind of sad. They played a funny song, but they didn't have anything. They had things during the credits, towards the beginning, just so you know. But nothing at the end worth waiting for. I mean, nothing but a song, so. However, those end credits are great because he is totally abusing that time travel device, and he's cleaning up the timeline, as he puts it, as he says, hey to Logan, no scratchy scratchy, and then he goes and visits himself as an actor who's holding the Green Lantern script and saying, this is our chance into the bigwigs, or something, and he blows his own brains out. It was great. It was an awesome end to a really funny movie that did not take itself seriously at all. I really didn't have a lot of negative critiques. I don't know how you would for this film. I mean, if you're gonna talk serious writing structure, you know, plot holes, character turnarounds, theme development, and all of that, yeah, you could. You could rip this film several new buttholes, which I'm sure Deadpool already has, because he gets shot all the time near the ass. But why even bother with this film? Because it's not, the purpose of it isn't for you to have a transformative experience. In most stories, that's kind of the point, is you should at least be moved emotionally and have this sort of transformation along with the main hero. But Deadpool really doesn't shift off of his base. He really doesn't transform too much, and honestly, I'm okay with it. It's a comedy, and it did deliver what I wanted, which was just laughs. I just laughed. I didn't know the two guys sitting next to me. I just kept, we just laughed together the whole film, and it was great. So if you want to laugh and not be persnickety about the specifics, it's a great film. The Deadpools are always, you know, the character in and of himself in the Deadpool universe is comedic. So go see it in theaters, see it big and ridiculous, and then buy and rent it at home when you're having a really shit-tastic day and watch it just to laugh. If you want to see more reviews, subscribe below, and we'll see you next time.